Hello, my name is Alessia Tallarico, and this is my project, Do Men Marry Their Mothers? And it's based around the Oedipal complex. So we'll start. Okay, so Freudian theory and a case study by a psychiatrist will prove that men are more likely to marry an individual that mirrors their mother. So this video will truly revolve around Freudian theory. Now, although Freudian theory can be considered very outdated, it is still present in the world of psychology today due to Freud's brilliant findings. Now, although there is no empirical evidence through the text, you might be surprised on what you believe to be true by the end. So Freud was an Austrian psychologist who founded the basis of psychoanalysis. Now, he had many theories, and sometimes one of his theories was that an individual will think that they're being rational when making a decision, but in reality, their unconscious has made the decision for them. So I'm just going to change the slide. Right over here, you can see his picture. It's one of the most famous pictures. It's like an iceberg, and it basically shows what part of your brain is a part of the unconscious and is under the water, and it shows how you don't really know that you're making decisions, but you are. Alright, so Freud believed that we go through many stages of development. For example, the phallic stage, and the phallic stage is the psychosexual stage that a child goes through between the ages of 3 to 7, and it focuses on the pleasure of genitalia. Now, the child will eventually realize the difference in gender and in parental gender. So the only reason why I'm mentioning this is because it's going to lead up to the Oedipal complex. So they will also realize which gender they are, and now this is called sexual awakening. Now, the Oedipal complex or crisis can develop during the phallic stage. So what exactly is the Oedipal crisis or complex? There you go. So it is a male toddler's sexual desire for their mother, while detesting their father due to the father winning over the mother. Now this is called primitive jealousy, right over there. So now, this is when the child is jealous because they desire the parent of the opposite sex. Now, the average person loves their mother. According to Freud, male toddlers want the full attention and affection of their mother. The young boy will subconsciously develop a rivalry for his mother's attention and affection. Now, this rival is often the father. He will realize eventually that his father has him beat, and he will seek to meet his sexual desires through other women. Now, the child will try to loosen his ties with the mother, therefore trying to be less dependent on the mother. He will also try to become more like his father. So here's a picture of a mother and a kid just playing. Now here's a quote. "We cannot get from the assumption that man's sense of guilt springs from the Oedipus complex and was acquired at the killing of the father by the brothers band together." Now, this was said by Freud in 1930. So just a cool little quote. Now, there is also the female parallel of the Oedipal complex, which is the crisis for female toddlers, and it's called the Electra complex. Now, little girls fall in love with their father. She notices the difference between females and males, which, as discussed earlier, is called sexual awakening. Now, she realizes that she doesn't have a penis and wishes that she did have one, and that is called penis envy. Eventually, she will realize that although she does not have a penis, she can carry a baby, and subconsciously, the baby is the replacement for the lack of the penis. Now, she will need a penis eventually to carry a baby. Therefore, she will scout a man where she will turn that man into the father of the baby. And that's how basically she tries to pursue other men. And here's a little comment I found. It's kind of like a meme. Electra complex, it's when you can choose between many guys, but you fall in love with the one who's just like your father. So now, a study was conducted by a psychologist, Chris Fraley of the University of Illinois. In this session, we will investigate the evolutionary biology that supports Freudian theory. So now, I'll explain it to you how it worked. The volunteers were shown pictures of people they didn't know, and they were asked to rate these people based on sexual attractiveness. Now, the research involved two groups. In one group, the volunteers were shown flashing pictures of their parent of the opposite gender before being shown the picture of the stranger. And in the other group, the pictures right before the stranger's pictures were of an unrelated person. It doesn't matter. It was just a random person. Now, the result of this study was that the first group that the volunteers saw the parents said to find the stranger's face more attractive than the other group. Now, is this because they saw their parents first, and according to the Oedipal complex, we desire the parent of the opposite sex. So, in the second experiment conducted by Fraley, there was also two groups of volunteers, and in the first group, they were shown a morphed picture of two faces. Now, the first group had morphs of two different strangers. In the second group, they had 55% stranger and 45% of their own face. So it's pretty cool. They kind of morphed it together. So the result was that the second group found that their morph pictures were more sexually attractive than the first group. Now, was it because they saw their parents? In a third study conducted by Fraley, there were two groups. They were all shown composite pictures. Now, half were told that it includes their own face, while the other half weren't told. Now, none of their faces were actually used. Surprisingly, the ones who thought that their faces were in it believed that it was less sexually attractive than those who didn't think their face was in it, which is really weird or very judgmental. Overall, these three studies can lead us to conclude that Freud was not far off with his theory of the Oedipal complex. We are attracted physically to the traits of our parents, which is evident by the result of the first and second study, and Fraley realizes this, and it obviously backs up Sigmund Freud's theory. Now, in today's society, it is proven through studies that high-achieving men will often seek women that mirror their mothers. Now, wealthy people, which means in the top 10% of the population, or educated men, tend to marry a woman with the same educational background as their mother. Now, 80% of successful men with mothers who have college degrees marry women with college degrees. 19% of these successful men marry women with graduate degrees. If the mother had a graduate degree, 62% of their child, which is the men, marry a graduate degree holder. Now, to conclude, the belief that men do in fact marry reflections of their mothers is still alive based on Freudian theory, Dr. Fraley's study, and personal anecdotes from the general population that will soon be shown. Now, once again, there aren't any quantitative experiments that can truly prove Freud's theory, so I'm going to really just leave it up to you. And you can watch some of the personal anecdotes, and it's on YouTube, so you can always rate and comment over there. And I'd like to thank you very much for listening. And I'm just going to move you to the next slide. But right before that, I'm going to just show you this little comic I found. So shame you don't have one like this. Well, my mom said in a few years, I can have as many of those as I want because I have this. So it's a little bit humorous. Here we go. Oop, I forgot. Perfect. So this was the case study in Illinois. So Dr. Fraley's study. And this is the personal anecdote. And I don't really